Hi, I'm Dr. Joanna McMillan and I'm a nutrition scientist, but I'm also an avid cook. And that's why I'm loving this new area of culinary nutrition. And that's really about bringing nutrition science to life with the way we all eat, which is about creating, preparing and serving and eating delicious meals. Now, I've partnered with Meat and Livestock Australia to help bring to life some resources that are going to help us nutrition leaders to guide Australians towards balanced meals with no food waste. And this is their series of Make Every Bite Count tips. And this series of videos will bring each of those tips to life. In this video, we'll focus on smart shopping, which is about the appropriate amounts of food to buy to create balanced meals with no food waste across the whole week. Now, what does that mean when it comes to red meat? When we buy red meat, it does depend on the cut as to how much is a portion size. So how do we equate that with our dietary recommendations, which are for 650 grams raw weight a week? Well, let's take a look at some typical cuts of red meat. So I've got here some mince, I've got a sirloin steak, I've got a lamb leg steak, and I've got some diced beef. And you can see that they're slightly different portion sizes, but they're adding up to my 650 grams. This is 125 grams of meat. That's about a quarter of a standard meat pack. So a standard packet of mince is going to feed a family of 4. In this one, a sirloin steak, you're going to have a little bit bigger, right? You want the steak to be bigger on the plate. So this will be 200 to 250 grams. My lean lamb leg steak here, that's about 100 to 125 grams. And then I've got 150 grams of my diced beef. So collectively, if this is served in 4 different meals across the week, I've reached my target weekly goal. Now, I've chosen to have just beef and lamb here, but of course there are other red meat choices in our dietary guidelines, including things like pork, kangaroo, or other game meats. So let's take a look at what this quantity of meat per person looks like in a variety of balanced meals. Now, what we need to remind people though, these are the serves that are recommended for one person to give them the essential nutrients that we get from meat. But it's not how we buy meat. We buy meat in packs. So this is where we need to help people to make that connection. If you're talking to someone who's just a family of one in the household compared to a family of 4 or more, then of course it's different. We have to help them to make that connection between how to use this meal appropriately, how many people or how many serves does it make. So my pack of mince here, typically it's in a 500 gram pack. I've made it into my meatballs. Now that serves 4. What do I do if I'm on my own? Well, we need to teach them about some tips to use their leftovers, things like using the freezer. So check out the leftovers video for some more tips about how we can help people to use this. Similarly, if I'm using my diced meat or if I've bought strips of meat, how am I going to make that into meals that's either going to feed a bigger family or a meal for one? So now let's look at what do those raw individual serves of meat look like when we put them into balanced meals. So let's take a look. With my lamb steak, I've made that into a gorgeous lamb salad here. Now the amount of the cooked weight is about 5 or 6 slices, and I've teamed it up with loads of veggies. Similarly, look at the veggies I've popped into this gorgeous wrap. I've made my mince into meatballs. Usually that's around a standard size, so it's about 6 meatballs is a serve. The diced beef I've put into skewers along with some veggies. So again, I'm adding lots of veggies into the plate, and that's about 8 to 10 cubes of meat, depending on the sizes of your cubes. And then lastly, I've got this gorgeous beef curry. Again, getting veggies into this meal, and that's about 8 or so pieces of meat. Giving those visuals is a really good way of allowing people to know how much are they serving onto their plate, whether they're plating up at home or whether they're ordering or helping themselves when they're eating out. So teaching people about what does the cooked portion of meat look like and making sure they get loads of veggies onto the plate. Now, of course, there are endless ways that we could put together balanced meals, so please head on over to MLA's Healthy Meals website and you'll find a whole bunch of different ideas there and resources that you can download to create your own ways of teaching Australians how we enjoy balanced meals with no food waste.